Welcome everyone, and thank you for joining us today in our InfoSec seminar organized by the Information Systems Security and Assurance Management Department in Mahalshan School of Management. We begin our April InfoSec seminar by acknowledging that although this seminar is being held virtually, Concordia University of Edmonton is located on Treaty 6 territory and a traditional meeting ground and home for many indigenous peoples, including Cree, Saulteaux, Blackfoot, Métis, and Nakota Sioux peoples. We respect and acknowledge this. In this seminar, we are pleased to have 3 student presentations from our master's programs, ISSAM and ISSAM. So during the presentations, we kindly ask everyone to mute their microphones. There will be a few minutes for questions after each presentation. The first presentation today is AI Data Privacy and Data Protection Consideration by Arif and Aseel and Vincent. Please go ahead.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Aseel Abujnah from ISSAM department. Today we're presenting on AI data privacy and data protection consideration. So lately I was searching for a cheap flight on the internet. And when I'm searching, I agreed to every cookie without reading anything. Then my phone started generating like cheap flights and cheap hotels and car rentals. Turns out I'm product, not the user. So that's why today we focus on how AI system processes and analyze the protected personal information. In today's digital world, every click, every scroll on the internet or social media, online shopping, or even footage from a security camera, data is being collected. So AI systems are fundamentally hungry for data. So like when you fuel your car, the more they have, the better they perform, and appetite collides directly with individual rights. So to control their personal information. Over the next few slides, we'll walk through how conflicts plays out, what the regulation, landscape, what the technical solution, and what it all means in practice. So there's a quote by Clive Humby in 2006 who said data is the new oil. So, and later became a popular through The Economist. So the analogy here is useful because oil in its raw form is not a value. It must be refined. So data works in the same way. It needs to be processed and modeled before it generates value. But the analogy runs deeper. Oil extraction has environmental and social impacts. In the same way, data collection and use also create important impacts on people. So, however, the paper focuses on those impacts, especially the risk and privacy. Why AI privacy matters? So there are 3 concepts anchor our discussion today: privacy, autonomy, data privacy. Privacy is about control, deciding who sees your information and when. But the autonomy is different. It's slightly different because it's your ability to make independent decisions. It's about decision without being watched or manipulated. Losing some privacy does not automatically compromise autonomy, but autonomy is only truly affected when the loss of a privacy starts and influences a person's behavior or limits their ability to make an independent decision. Finally, data privacy. Data privacy specifically refers to how organizations handle sensitive information, like health records or financial data identifiers under legal and ethical obligations. So what makes AI different from traditional software is not just to process data. It actively generates new personal information from behavior and behavior traces. This is a very important difference to be aware of. Now Arif will talk about the privacy data.
Okay. Thank you, Aseel. So Arif from ISSAM. So what are the actual risks? In the context of AI data privacy and data protection, re-identification, hidden inference, behavioral profiling, and surveillance system are major concern.
So
They are using
could you
data.
please move in front of the camera?
Okay.
Yes, so the camera is on Aseel now. Can you please come on to face the camera? Yes.
Because we are presenting from my...
Yes.
No, it's okay.
No, that's fine. That's fine. Just let
No,
him
no, no.
like. So everything is perfect. Just let him like face the camera so we can see him.
Okay.
Oh.
It's okay.
I can.
We have to come.
No, just stop. I'm sharing. Share. I'm going to share that. Is that okay? No?
Can you please turn on the camera? The presentation is perfect. Yes, the presentation, the slides are perfect.
Okay,
So-
because we are. I'm the main station, Dr. Islam. That's why.
Yes,
Okay,
that's perfect. Yeah, that's perfect.
I got
yeah.
what you mean. Okay.
So,
Yeah.
yep. Okay.
Yeah, perfect.
Okay. So, I'm so sorry. So, thank you, Aseel. So, what are the actual risk here in the context of AI data privacy and data protection? Re-identification and hidden inference, behavioral profiling, and surveillance system are major concern. They are using data to identify, predict, monitor, and understand people, which creates privacy and security concern. In re-identification, AI system can identify a person from anonymized data. The traditional process of anonymization by removing names and ID numbers, modern machine learning breaks this completely. The classic protection of technique like k-anonymity, I-diversity are not always strong enough to fulfill protect privacy. Also, in hidden inference is a major privacy concern in AI and data analytics. Hidden inference means discovering private or hidden information from other visible data. Purchase history can reveal health condition. Location pattern can reveal religion. Also, behavioral profiling uses for manipulation. Once AI build a psychological profile, AI can influence a person's ability to make decisions freely. The individual autonomy is compromised without their awareness. And also my previous friend, he mentioned that every click, every scroll, and every footage from security camera, data is being collected at enormous scale through surveillance system. Our study also reviews major global regulatory frameworks in GDPR, Californian CCPA, LGPD for Brazil, also PAPL for China data protection law. All these laws are made to ensure fundamental principles of data protection, such as data minimization, purpose limitation, and lawful processing. It gives people to control over their personal data and focus companies to protect privacy. All these laws gives people to a right to know their and right to access their data, right to delete data, right to control data sharing, and companies must protect data. These laws create a boundary for how AI systems should handle personal data. AI capabilities are evolving faster than global regulation, and so that it keep up. Notable limitation remain in global regulatory harmonization here. Also, our work expose emerging privacy technologies such as privacy by design, differential privacy, federated learning, homomorphic encryption, and synthetic data generation. Differential privacy provides a mathematical guarantee by adding some extra control or noise to output. It limits the individual to re-identification. And server never received the original data, which adds an extra layer of protection. Apple used this also. US Census Bureau used it in 2020. Federated learning is a smart way for different organizations to work together on a shared goal without expressing private information. Also, homomorphic encryption is the most theoretically elegant approach. It calculates encrypted data without decrypting. Also, synthetic data is a mirroring data. So it's computer generated data. It is created by learning patterns from original data set. These all are mechanisms to mitigate risk, but none of them is a complete solution on its own. So now I'm inviting my friend Vincent to discuss about the discussion and analysis and conclusion. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Arif. My name is Vincent, and final student of ISSAM program, and we are here still discussing about the AI privacy and data protection considerations. This is just to speak about a discussion of our project and analysis. Notwithstanding, we know personal data is our personal information or information that we put out there, whether being sensitive or non-sensitive. So our topic also emphasizes that AI systems are able to pry or are able to take our information or data, which is non-sensitive data or innocuous data. And this data is usually our day-to-day activities that we do, like going to online shopping markets, filling information or filling a normal form, giving out our names and all that. So this little information can be inferred into or re-identified by normal AI systems. So inferred data are usually AI generated, where they decide to take information you did not deliberately put out there or you did not provide, but they're able to trace your patterns. That's your health records, your race, your gender, your normal transaction that you do, and it's able to make a decision based on that to come out with a sensitive data. Now, talking about privacy control objective for this AI, or the risk that Arif already spoke about, which is the re-identification, the inference data and the surveillance issue that we have in data, we have privacy or privacy control objectives for AI that helps us to curtail this problem. So our first approach was in the paper, as discussed, privacy by design. So privacy by design help us to or help organizations to inculcate or bring in privacy controls from the inception or from the architectural stage of the whole program. And then the other approach our paper spoke about was data protection impact assessment. For that, it talks about before an organization starts anything, they have to check the security aspect of it. They have to always make sure everything is security tight before they proceed. So that if not, then it means that privacy by design have to be inculcated in the process. And then also the integral part of the entire project was to discuss about AI auditing. So audit is also important when it comes to curtailing all these risk issues. So auditing must be played in an organization or in a way that AI systems must follow all compliance options. So it could either be internal audits or external audits from a third party. Now, we came up with recommendations based on this idea. So we also discussed in our paper that strengthening data governance. So all these data regulatory bodies have to come together to come up with a homogeneous or a refined way of handling these issues. And then we have to treat anonymized data as a high risk. Whenever organization come across with anonymized data, they have to put a high risk profile on that, and then also make sure they find controls in place to curtail that. We also recommended in our paper that operationalize privacy by design, meaning that it should be a culture in an organization. It must be hand in hand, like always start your AI process through the data privacy lifecycle. So collecting data must have privacy by design controls in it. Processing the data must have privacy by design controls in it. And then when you are outputting the data out there, must have data privacy by design in it. And then we also recommend that audits must expand their scope of operation. When it comes to high-risk AI or systems should face third-party assessment. So if you're an organization, you have to, even though it's expensive to contract these third-party auditors, it is mandatory to have them so they can also have a second eye on your process. So these are some useful references we came by. Thank you.
Thank you guys so much for this interesting presentation and important topic. Do you have any questions? Any questions from the audience? Yes, thank you, Jody. Thank you. Any questions? Okay, so maybe I will ask a question. So, how can existing privacy regulations like GDPR and CCPA be adapted to effectively govern inferred data generated by the AI systems? How can we always update them?
So usually these AI systems keep learning from whatever data we provide. So once information is dynamic, once things are changing, this AI system also change accordingly. So based on that, a study must be performed on the dynamic of how data is consumed or how data is collected. Then this GDPR or other regulatory bodies must keep up with the trend and also come up with controls or recommendations to help protect privacy of information and also protect our data.
Okay, great. Okay, NG. So one last question from NG.
Hi, thank you so much for the presentation. I just wanted to find out if you kind of did any research in regards to how the privacy laws in Alberta and in Canada apply to your study. Because based on your presentation, you spoke about GDPR and the EU AI Act. Nothing appears to be mentioned about the privacy law in Alberta or in Canada. Just wanted to find out if you looked into that.
Yeah.
So our general study also spoke about BIPEDA and how we put our personal information when we are applying for all these financial or card and payment processes. So we outline ways where BIPEDA can help out in protecting our privacy data. That's why when we are filling the forms, we have the privacy side we have to agree to. So our main study or the main paper has all those laws embedded in them.
Thank you.
Great. Thank you again, guys, so much for the interesting presentation. We wish you all the best. Thank you.
Thank you.
Can you please stop sharing your screen? Second group.
You're not understanding what I'm saying. The PC will
Stop the video.
Great. So second group, the title is Security and the Privacy Implications of Generative AI in Business Environments by Nwabuaku, Shayma, Arshdeep, and Eghosa. Please go ahead.
Good afternoon, everyone. This is Shayma from the group, where capstone is mainly on security and privacy implications of generative AI and business environments. Today, we will be presenting our project and basically explaining what we did with the project. If you look at the current situation for businesses, we can see how generative AI has increasingly become a phenomenon for business because it can automate work, it can improve productivity, it supports better decision making. However, at the same time, it creates concerns related to data privacy, cybersecurity, compliance, and trust. So our project is mainly focused on understanding both the opportunities and the risk of Gen AI and developing a practical governance controls and an audit checklist. So the agenda is mainly we will be introducing and talking about the research objective. Then we will be giving a brief on the results, which focuses on Gen AI use of some case studies of the real world, its function. We will be talking about the security and privacy risks regarding relating it with some case studies, and then we will be going through an audit checklist brief and some controls as a suggestion. Moving on to the next slide. So when we're talking about the purpose of the research, the main purpose of this research was to examine the security and the privacy implications of Gen AI, mainly in business environments. While Gen AI provides major benefits, such as automation, faster decision making, improved customer service, it also creates serious risk-related privacy, cybersecurity, ethics, and compliance-related issues. Our first objective was to understand how AI technologies such as large language models and image generators are being used in business operations, and then followed by objective, which was to identify risks such as data leakage, phishing, deepfakes, malware generation, hallucination, bias, and privacy violation. Ultimately, we also went through and did some research on existing standards and frameworks such as NIST, AIRMF, ISO 42001, NIST 853, and European AI Act. But in general, this presentation translates these critical insights into a practical guidance for InfoSec and risk management professionals. Our core output for the research is a comprehensive Gen AI audit checklist paired with a proposed security control that can be used to assess, monitor, and fortify an organization's Gen AI security and compliance posture. However, we have some limitations as well, which will be described eventually. Moving on to the next slide. So what is Gen AI? Generative AI refers to artificial intelligence systems that can create entirely a new content, such as text, images, videos, code, and audio. Some of the popular examples would include ChatGPT, Copilot, Gemini. Unlike traditional AI that we see, which is mostly used for like predictions or classifications, Gen AI produces new outputs that resembles human created work. So businesses use these tools because they help reduce cost, automate repetitive work, improve customer service, speed up the decision making, and creates more personalized experience for customers. Now, if we go to the next slide. So here we were discussing in our research, we also included some case studies and on some real world companies that are using Gen AI currently. And we have been getting some spectacular results. Our results show that Gen AI is already being used. So for example, Walmart. Walmart uses large language models for customer service and personalized storefronts. For example, Klarna, they use AI assistants to manage large volumes of customer service chats. Unilever uses Gen AI to create marketing content more quickly. And then JP Morgan Chase, they use AI fraud detection and payment validation. And then Salesforce applies AI to service workflows and marketing personalization, while IBM focuses on governance and compliance tool. These are some examples that show that Gen AI is no longer experimental. It is becoming a part of the core business operations. Now, if we move forward, here I have categorized this Gen AI security and privacy risks. So although generative AI provides many benefits, as I said, it creates both security and privacy risks for organization. From a security perspective, one of the biggest risks is data leakage, where employees may accidentally upload sensitive information into public AI tools. Organizations also face phishing attacks and then social engineering, malware generation, prompt injections, and then other kinds of issues because Gen AI is probabilistic rather than predictable. These risks are often very difficult to detect and defend against. For the privacy perspective, organizations may collect too much personal information or customer data without proper consent. Businesses may also violate regulations such as GDPR if they fail to protect personal information or meet requirements like the right to be forgotten. There are also concerns about surveillance, lack of transparency, data retention in public AI tools, and intellectual property issues. These risks shows that businesses need strong governance and privacy controls before adopting generative AI. And then if we move on to the next slide. So now Arsh will be taking over the rest of the slide.
Now moving on to our next slide. In our project, we used real-world emerging cases, which show how generative AI is posing serious risk for the organization. The first one being Samsung data leak, in which in 2003, employees accidentally shared confidential information to ChatGPT, which led to risk to the organization. This shows how sensitive information can be exposed when the employees share data with ChatGPT. The second one is Hong Kong deepfake scam. In this, the employees were impersonated by a video call generated by AI, and the company lost almost $25 million through the impersonation scam. Other cases include Gen AI related phishing attacks, Gen AI malware and malicious code, Gen AI malware attacks, and the last one being the reputational damage from the fake content. Moving on to the next slide. The key results from the research were Gen AI is improving very rapidly, so we need to improve the privacy and security related to the organizations as well. Our research shows that generative AI offers significant benefits, but also it poses serious risk. Organizations are increasingly concerned about the security, privacy, and compliance issues. The findings highlight the need for strong governance frameworks and risk management strategies. Without proper controls, AI adoption can lead to financial loss, legal issues, and other damage to the reputation of the organization. Now, moving on to the next slide. Recommended controls and mitigation strategies for various organizations would be to manage their risk, organizations need to implement strong security controls, which include the following: access control, employee training, and data protection training. Employees should adopt data classification and anonymization to protect the data. Human intervention is very essential in all the data the organization is needed, because although we can use the AI generated data, but still we need to look over the data. It needs a proper oversight. The next thing is AI generated content has a lot of bias. So this thing also needs to be regulated. Red teaming means that the risks are tested in the real world scenario. The next thing is we need to follow proper frameworks such as NIST AI, RMF, and ISO standards in order to ensure secure, ethical, and responsible use of governance AI. Now, moving on to the next slide. Let's talk about the technical controls and the operational controls now. Technical controls are the built-in security features within the system. These include strong access control and authentication, multi-factor authentication, data classification, and data minimization, and many more. On the other hand, the operational controls focus on how the organization is managing the AI. This includes employee training, clear usage policies, and government committees to oversee how the generative AI is being used in the organization. Regular audit, risk assessments, and legal reviews ensure the compliance with all these frameworks. Now, moving on to the next slide. This screenshot shows the snapshot of how the generative audit checklist looks like. The generative AI proposed audit checklist below has a broad category of audit focus areas categorized into Gen AI governance and oversight, which is being shown in the snapshot as well. And the other categories are in the checklist, which is in the PDF. And other categories are data governance and privacy, model development and life cycle controls, transparency, explainability and content integrity, fairness, ethics and bias control, security and cyber defense, and compliance and legal requirement. These categories were compiled based on the common themes from the existing research papers which we studied during the research, and the references have been included for the papers as well. The research papers were reviewed for the study. The threat types were identified from the security and privacy risk that have been previously identified and explained in the study. The audit control objectives, which are in the third column in this screenshot, were classified based on the identified Gen AI security and privacy risk in the study, the proposed mitigation strategies, controls, and the suggested actions recommended by Gen AI related governance framework and global standards identified in the study. And the next thing is the fourth column, which is the questions. These have been generated based on the audit control objectives and threat types. And the last column contains audit evidences which are required. One limitation of this checklist may be that AI is evolving so rapidly, so the checklist may become outdated after a span of time. So it needs continuous updates regarding to what are the new privacy and the security risk. Now moving on to the next slide. In conclusion, generative AI improves the efficiency, innovation, automation, and decision making in all the organizations. However, we need to have proper checks, security, privacy, ethical, and compliance risks are there. To manage the security controls, human oversight, compliance frameworks, and regular audit processes need to be adopted. Gen AI adoption is necessary to ensure that organizations can benefit from AI while still protecting data, maintaining trust, and reducing risk. Thank you.
Thank you so much for this interesting presentation and this important and hot topic as well. So let's take some questions. Any questions? Any questions from the audience? Okay, so maybe I will start with one quick question. So, what are the most effective security controls organizations can implement to prevent data leakage while deploying generative AI systems?
In my opinion, the most effective control is the oversight. We can take data from the AI and we can implement it as well, but it needs a proper oversight and a look over by the organization itself. We can't just blindly trust the output which is generated by AI because it's prone to biasness and there can be human errors in the data sets which we are providing to the AI.
Great, thank you. So one last question from Dr. Sergey. Please go ahead.
Hi. In your list of risks, where would you put a well-known risk of shadow AI, which is everyone is worried about? So where is shadow AI? Thank you.
Yeah. Hi everyone. I am Nwabuaku. I'll take the question.
Okay.
Yeah. So in the list of the risk, we'll put shadow AI under access control and also governance within the organization. What I mean by that is when organizations have policies in place that limit access to open source tools, blocking access to those systems, it's kind of embedded in the governance of the organization. So everyone in the organization has that. And then the IT department, the InfoSec department has the responsibility of making sure that they put those controls in place. So yeah, it will be under both security and also privacy of the organization's data as well.
Great. Thank you. Thank you again for the interesting presentation. So, and this interesting research. Wish you all the best. So group number 3, please share your screen. So the third topic is unauthenticated UDP command injection and DDoS attacks on autonomous vehicles evaluation and defensive strategies by Bart, Smith, and Harsh.
Hello everyone. To start with a short introduction about us, my name is Harsh Parekh. I have experience working on AI and ML for more than 2 years, and I have done research on ML projects before in my bachelor's that helped me set code structures for this project. My teammate Parth has experience working with criminal investigation department, uh, so that helped us lead the attack and defense of this project. And Smith has developed a vehicle OTO location-based vehicle service before. Therefore, he was also a key person in understanding the whole vehicle and infrastructure functioning. So, good afternoon, everyone. To start with the presentation, my name is Harsh Parekh. I am presenting alongside my colleagues as Smith Patel, Parth Suchak, under the supervision of Professor Aslam Abdullah. Today, we are presenting our research on unauthenticated UDP command injection and denial of service on autonomous vehicles. with a specific focus on evaluating layer defensive strategies for vehicle to infrastructure control links. Before we begin, we are pleased to be note that this work has been submitted for the International Conference on Cybersecurity and AI taking place in Budapest, Romania from September 22nd to 25th, 2026. We hope this work contributes meaningfully to that community's ongoing conversation around securing the next generation of intelligent transportation. So why V2I security matters? The autonomous vehicle market is experiencing explosive growth. As you can see on the slide, the market is projected to jump from 274 billion USD to over 5.4 trillion USD by 2035, a nearly 20-fold increase in 1 decade. The autonomous vehicle rely on V2I communication to receive real-time motion commands. The attack surface expands dramatically. This is not just a theoretical concern. Consider the Jeep Cherokee hack in 2022, the Uber AV fleet compromise in 2023, and Waymo DDoS gridlock incident in 2025. Each of these demonstrate that cybersecurity vulnerabilities in autonomous vehicles translate directly to physical safety threats. A compromised vehicle is not just a data breach, it is a potential collision. This motivated us to study exactly what happens when the communication channel between an infrastructure node and an autonomous vehicle is left unauthenticated. The root of the problem lies in how motion commands are transmitted in many low latency V2I implementations. Like UDP, the user datagram protocol, is used because of its speed. However, UDP has a fundamental limitation. It has no built-in origin verification and no state validation. Any packet that arrives on the right port will be accepted and acted upon. This vulnerability enables two-chain attacks. First, an adversary can perform ARP cache poisoning by broadcasting falsified ARP replies. They associate their own MAC address with the legitimate RSU's IP address, effectively intercepting all local wireless traffic destined for the vehicle. Once positioned as an adversary in the middle, or AITM, the attacker can inject mutated commands into the communication stream, causing the vehicle to behave in ways the control server never intended. Moving to the next slide. So it's about the experimental AV testbed architecture. To test this in a controlled and reproducible way, we built a physical AV testbed, which you can see here. The system consists of four main components. The electric control unit, or ECU, is a Raspberry Pi for running forward, reverse, and stop on port 8888. It receives UDP motion primitives commands, and it then drives the vehicle's actuators through an L298NH dual H bridge motor driver, while IR trackers and an ultrasonic sensor provide environmental awareness. Finally, a control center, simulating a roadside unit, issues legitimate V2I commands over a localized Wi-Fi network. This bed allows us to replicate a realistic V2I environment at scale and to measure the precise impact of attacks and defenses under repeatable conditions. I will now hand it over to my colleague to walk you through how the attack was executed.
Thank you, Harsh. My name is Parth, and I'll be walking you through how we implemented the attack. The attack unfolds in three stages. In step one, we perform ARP cache poisoning from a Kali Linux machine, which acted as an attacker on our same local area network. By continuously sending falsified ARP replies, we associate the attacker's MAC address with both the legitimate control center, that is the RSU's IP address, and the vehicle's IP address. And from this point on, all the traffic between the control server and the vehicle flows to the attacker machine, which is like without either side being aware of it. In step two, we use the SCAPI packet manipulation framework to intercept each incoming UDP datagram and mutate its payload. Every forward command sent by the RSU is replaced with reverse and vice versa. Similarly, the left command is changed to right and right is changed to left before being re-injected in the network towards the ECU. That means the vehicle is getting wrong signals from the RSU. In step three, we amplify the attack into a broadcast storm by running the packet injection in a continuous loop. This floods the ECU's network stack with malformed, illegitimate traffic, preventing it from processing any legitimate commands. Now, if I talk about the impact of the attacks that we had, the results we saw were significant. Physically, the autonomous vehicle locks into a last received movement command state and ignores all new inputs. On our test bed, this meant the vehicle continued moving forward in a fixed direction with no ability to stop, creating a direct, measurable collision risk. This will be evident when we present a video of our attack scenario a little ahead in our presentation that we have recorded. At the network level, we observed that the impact using a third observer machine running a continuous ping to the ECU. As shown on this slide, the ICMP reply rate dropped from 100% under normal scenario to just 25%, meaning that there were 75% packet loss when the attack was being performed. The ECU's processing queues were so saturated with illegitimate traffic that 3 out of every 4 packets were simply never processed. This is what we classify as a functional denial of service. The vehicle is not just merely unreachable on the network, it is physically incapacitated while still nominally operational. Now, let me now show you the attack logic. On the left hand side of the slide, it displays the logic of the core Python script responsible for the attack. The function mutate packet is registered as a callback on all raw UDP traffic arriving at destination port 8888, and when a packet is intercepted, it decodes the ASCII payload and checks whether the command is forward or a reverse. If it's a forward, the payload is replaced with the reverse, and if it's reverse, it becomes forward. The attacker then constructs a spoofed packet with the vehicle's IP address as the destination and the mutated payload as the body, and calls the send function, which then sends the malfunctioning payload on the traffic, and with loop is equals to 1, that generates a continuously high speed injection loop. The effect is threefold. What I mean by that is the traffic is intercepted silently after ARP poisoning commands are semantically inverted to maximize physical disruption, and the send loop amplifies the attack into a full denial of service condition by not only changing the command from the control center, but it even changes the commands that were sent by itself, which is the attacker machine, as it is already sitting on the network and having the AITM position. The elegance and the danger of this attack is just simplicity. No specialized hardware, no zero-day exploits, just a UDP socket, a few lines of Python, and an unauthenticated link. Now I'll pass on the floor to my colleague Smith he'll walk you through our defensive countermeasures.
Thank you, Parth. My name is Smith Patel, and I will be presenting our defense strategy and experimental results. So we evaluated 2 conventional defense layers before arriving at our solution. Layer 1 operates at the router level using IP MAC binding and packet filtering, but it assumes the attacker is outsider. If the attacker is already inside the same local network, such as in a parking lot or in the roadside setup, the router cannot distinguish spoofed ARP replies from legitimate ones. Now layer 2, which is host level. So layer 2 strengthens the host with static ARP entries and rate-based traffic controls. While this reduces simple floods, but it still lacks proper verification. An attacker generating traffic at or just below the rate limit using traffic that appears structurally legitimate can still flood the ECU's processing queue. Ultimately, neither layer solves the core issue. The ECU accepts any UDP packet on port 8888 without verifying its source. Now we will move to the next slide. Our solution is HMAC SHA 256 authentication applied directly at the application layer within the ECU. So the principle of HMAC authentication is very straightforward. The RSU and ECU share a cryptographic secret key known only to them. Every motion command sent by the RSU is appended with an HMAC, a keyed hash message authentication code generated using SHA-256. When the ECU receives a UDP packet, it does not execute the command until it independently recomputes the HMAC using its own copy of the shared secret and verifies that the received tag matches. This provides origin authentication since only the legitimate RSU can generate a valid HMAC, and data integrity, as any change in the payload will invalidate it. It also ensures secure fail-safe behavior, where the ECU stops the vehicle if no valid commands are received within a set time. Now we will move on to the next slide. So here we will talk about experimental results and recovery. So the results speak clearly. We ran 3 phases of testing. In phase 1, which is baseline, with no active attack, the issue maintained a 100% ICMP reply rate, confirming a healthy network environment. In phase 2, which is under attack, the AITM and DOS sequence was launched. ICMP reachability dropped to approximately 25%, as you can see in the bar chart here, validating the severity of the functional DOS condition. In phase 3, when we enable the HMAC, the ECU now silently drops all the packets that fail HMAC verification. The injected and mutated packets from the attacker, which carry no valid HMAC, are discarded at the application layer before they can reach the command queue. To summarize the core takeaway of this work, cryptographic validation at the application layer is not optional, it's a necessity of autonomous vehicle safety. Network level and host level defenses, while useful, but they were insufficient on their own against an adversary operating within the local network. Future work will focus on scaling the test bed to multi-node environments and improving fail-safe protocols for key rotations, ECU reboots, and network issues. Now, before we take questions, we have 2 demonstration video to show. Now, Harsh, you may go ahead and show the video.
I'll just do the narration of the video as it might be confusing. On the left side is the attacker center is the control center that is sending the commands to control the vehicle. And now on the left side, the attack is being launched. There we go. The attack now is starting. The vehicle is moving normally. But now when the control center tries to control the vehicle, it is just locked into the last state that it was in, which is moving forward, and it just never stops until the attack is stopped. And now we'll show you the defense scenario after we implemented the HMAC. Same structure, center is the control center, right side is the autonomous vehicle. And you can see on the top right side, it verifies HMAC and then only it accepts the control. So now the attack is being launched on the left, but still the car is functional as per the control center wants. So the defense is completed and the attack is neutralized. That will be all from our side. We would like to express our gratitude to Professor Aslam for helping us with this research. Your unwavering support and guidance has led us to this point. We also thank Concordia University of Edmonton for providing us this opportunity. And we would like to open the floor for any questions you might have.
Thank you guys so much. Actually, you did all the work. Thanks so much for your great efforts. So let's take some questions. Any questions? Yes, please go ahead, Dr. Sergey.
Hi. Yeah, when you implemented HMAC, very nice presentation. First of all, I love it. So it's very nice. The question is, when you implemented the encryption for protection, did you evaluate like how much computational resources do you need, and whether this is feasible in in a vehicle or in a device which does not have too much of capabilities? Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much for your appreciation. It means a lot to us. Yes, we did research on the defensive measure before implementing. So why we mentioned this as a functional denial of service and not a traditional denial of service is because during all the three phases, which is the baseline, attack, and defense, the CPU load was absolutely normal, like around 4 to 5%, which is absolutely normal, even on a Raspberry Pi, which is just 2-core CPU. So while we selected HMAC SHA-256 is because of its very lightweight cryptographic measures. And that is why we have selected it, because on real time, the car moves so fast in a range of an RSU that they don't have time to encode and decode large pieces of encryption. And that's why we selected HMAC 256.
Great, thank you. Any more questions? Yes, please go ahead. Thu?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, I know you probably answered this, but how would your defense gonna work if the attacker is already in the same local network?
So our research already started after the attacker has got the position of the attack, which is inside the network. Because if it's outside the network, the traditional defensive measures, which is securing the network by implementing DOS protection on the router and whatnot, is absolutely fine, and it works for the attacker who is outside the network. But when he's inside the network, we need a verification of who's the sender and who's the receiver.
More like authentication.
Sorry, can you come again then, please?
You say like verification, like much more like authentication, right?
So can you repeat the whole question? I think I misread your question.
Oh, I asked like, how is your defense gonna work if this attacker is in the same local network? And then you say there's gonna be some kind of like verification for that.
It's because the RSU and the vehicle would have a pre-shared key.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's how they'll know it's a legitimate RSU sending us control commands.
Well, it's more of a curiosity, but are there any like limitation to your testing?
Yes, it is, and that's why we have presented our future work, that what we have implemented is just on one RSU and one vehicle. So we want to test it how it will look like when there are more vehicles and more RSUs.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much for all our presenters today. Before I wrap up, I'd like to extend a huge thank you to all our presenters for sharing their expertise and their research projects with us today. We truly appreciate you taking the time to present your research and speak with our community. Thanks everyone for joining us today, and we wish to see you in the next InfoSec seminar, which will be on May 13. Thanks everyone.
Thank you, Dr. Islam.
Yeah, May 30.